I've long been an NFL fan, and I've always marveled at the size and the speed of the men that play that game. If you watch a game, often when an important play is made, there is some sort of victory display by the player who made it. And lately that will be a flex of the arms, like this. Bare arms, even in the snow. I often think to myself, that guy has arms thicker than my legs. This picture of the flexed arms came to mind as I was reading the first of today's texts. It's from Isaiah 52. The Lord has bared his holy arm in the sight of all the nations. If you can keep this image in mind. In the previous chapter in Isaiah 51, we read, "And my arm shall judge the nations." And in another verse, "Awake, awake, put on strength, arm of the Lord." This image of a strong arm came from the battlefields in the ancient Near Eastern world. Our God is depicted as a mighty warrior because it was by the strength of his arm that ancient warriors would smash down the sword or the spear of their opponent. And even more so in the book of Isaiah, God is not only a mighty warrior one-on-one, but this idea of holy arm is a term used in Isaiah to speak of geopolitical power on an international scale. Holy arm means God is proclaiming his work through the political processes of history. God's holy arm produces life-giving results for his people and for his city, Jerusalem. His arm produces results that will be public knowledge, not just private knowledge. In other words, neighboring cities and neighboring peoples will have to take note of the salvation of our God. By his strong arm, our divine fighter will win the victory. Naturally, Christmas is a time when we reflect on Jesus as a baby, born into poverty, entering the world incognito. He arrives among us, humanity, virtually undetected, save for a lot of angels, some shepherds, the Holy Family, and perhaps a few animals. This baby Jesus is born vulnerable and non-threatening. In fact, he could even be dropped by the person who was holding him. And that, of course, is the main point of Christmas. God can now be approached safely. Who fears a baby? And he really wants us to get to know him personally. But like the two sides of one coin, this baby Jesus is also fully God. He too is all-powerful. He too comes as a mighty warrior. In other words, this baby Jesus is the warrior child. As you may know, all Catholic clergy, deacons, priests, and bishops, make a holy promise during their ordination to pray the Liturgy of the Hours, also called the Breviary. This means that every day in morning prayer we recite the Benedictus of Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist. This beautiful Jewish prayer tells us that God has raised up for us a mighty Savior, a Savior to set us free from the hands of our enemies, free to worship him without fear. This baby Jesus comes as a warrior child. Through him, God conquers all threats which come against the peaceful existence of his people. Threats against you and threats against me. And the Psalms make those threats real with different images like cosmic forces of evil raging like a sea, or surrounding nations bent on destroying God's precious people, or evildoers who seem to triumph in this life, who write best-selling books and give glowing TV interviews and live long, successful lives. So it's true, this baby Jesus is on one hand utterly helpless, but on the other hand, his right arm, his right hand make him the most powerful warrior in existence. So what does this mean for us on this Christmas day? Well, here's one thought, that during a time of global pandemic, This warrior child is our protector. He's our benefactor. Are you inviting him in prayer every day to keep you safe, your family, your household, all safe from COVID? You can do that, you know. And here's a second thought. As we step into a new year just a week from now, hopefully a year not as crazy as 2020 has proven to be, this warrior child will see us through the new year too. Remember, his holy arm made the world. He is the source of life itself. So don't forget, he loves and cares for you. On behalf of Father David, Father Patras, Seminarian John, and Our Lady of the Assumption Parish, I wish you a very Merry Christmas.